In a move to support lifelong learning and empower women in their pursuit for higher education, a series of grants are now available specifically targeting women over the age of 40. These grants aim to break down barriers and provide financial assistance to individuals seeking to enhance their skills, advance their careers, or fulfill personal aspirations through college education. The initiative, spearheaded by various governmental and nonprofit organizations, recognize the unique challenges faced by mature women who want to return to academia. Often balancing family responsibilities, career commitments, and financial constraints, these women may encounter obstacles that hinder their educational pursuits. Now, however, with the assistance of grants tailored to their needs, they can overcome these challenges and achieve their academic goals. Now, one such program, the Women's Educational Opportunity Grant, also known as WEOG, provides funding to women age 40 and above who demonstrate financial need and are enrolled in eligible educational programs. The grant covers tuition, fees, books, and other related expenses, making higher education more accessible and affordable for qualified applicants. Additionally, several universities and colleges across the country are offering their own scholarships and grants specifically targeting adult learners, including women over 40. Now, these institutions recognize the value of diversity in age and experience among their student body and actively support efforts to attract and retain non-traditional students. Now, third, I found a website uh, that's specifically tailored towards women. It's Scholarships for Women. So go to www.scholarshipsforwomen.net. It has a lot of resources that provides information on scholarships and grants that are available. The importance of such initiatives cannot be overstated. Education has the power to transform lives, opening doors to new opportunities, enhancing skills, and fostering personal growth. By investing in the education of women over 40, these grants not only benefit individual recipients, but also contribute to the advancement of society as a whole. For women over 40 considering a return to college or pursuing higher education for the first time, these grants represent a valuable opportunity to turn their academic dreams into reality. So, whether seeking to embark on a new career path, update existing skills, or simply satisfy a thirst for knowledge, these grants provide a supportive framework for success. So often life happens, leading many of us to get sidetracked and put off our dreams. But usually we never revisit the possibility of picking up where we left off, thinking it's too late to pursue old dreams as we get older. Well, my guest, Erickka Jones, who happens to be an old friend of mine as well, I probably shouldn't use the word old, but you know what I mean. Erickka put her musical artist career on hold for over 20 years after shelving her debut album. A month ago, she reignited her dream with the release of that album on her 53rd birthday, titled Sensual Journey. And only a month after album release, she's been featured on Spotify's Female Voices playlist. Her self-directed video, Yeah, is getting played on a network in 17 countries, and she's been featured in music blogs from here in America far away to Portugal. Erickka Jones gives the true meaning to the term multi-hyphenate as she juggles several career pursuits. Her resume lists many achievements such as a writer for several magazines, a former VJ for MTV International, actress, producer, director, and fashion model, which is how we met many years ago. She's clearly not letting age slow her down. Erickka is joining us today to share how we can restart from where we are right now by sharing her inspiring story. Erickka, thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me, Sanita. I just wanted to say too, thank you for having me. I love your show, and I got a chance to look at the different topics, and it's so needed, like a show like this where we're taking pride in aging and sharing tips. And so anyway, thank you so much for doing the show and for having me. And
Thank
thank you
you.
for that amazing introduction. I'm like, who is she talking about?
So please, I actually didn't know that you sing. So please share with us about, I mean, you want to be a music artist, things got shelved, and I definitely want to hear what inspired you or how did you get over any doubts, if you had any,
Okay.
to release your former project?
Okay, so good question. So I've always loved music. We met, and a lot of people don't know that I sing. It was a lot of people don't know that about me, and people who have seen me throughout the years. And we met many, many, many moons ago when we were both modeling. And so yeah, so even when I was modeling 30 years ago, I was always into music, loving music. When I was in college, I was recording songs with this producer, that producer, and always pursuing music. And I never got the chance to really do what I really wanted to do until I was in my 30s. And I met this amazing producer and musician named Daniel Osmore Dickin. We met on the train. He had a home studio in Newark. He played many instruments. And so over the course of a summer in Newark, we just played and we just I got to do everything that I wanted to do. He was just picking up instruments and this and that, and it was just an incredible experience. So we recorded an album. We recorded I think it was about 8 songs, and so I was just overjoyed. My heart was singing. I took that and then I hooked up with this multi-platinum, and I say that because it's important, multi-platinum producer to mix it. So from what I did with him in the home studio, we took it to a bigger studio, a really, really super duper professional studio with this professional producer, and he tightened up all the sounds. So he mastered it. And when I tell you, I had this product in my hand and I was so proud and so happy. And I invested over 10K in this, So I was really invested. So here it was in my hands. And so it was time for me to start, figuring out what am I going to do next. So I let a few friends, I'm talking like 2, hear it. And they were like, oh, okay. And one friend said, I don't know, it doesn't sound like you're really singing out. And I was like, really? Okay, well, maybe I wasn't, And then another friend who was in the business was like, just, oh, keep working on it. He worked with Lauryn Hill, keep working on it, keep working on it. And so I went from here to like, and just spiraled. And I didn't even so just the doubts started coming. Oh, I don't know what genre this is, because it was so many different styles. It was reggae, it's just salsa, it was just everything, these different sounds, because he plays so many instruments. And so I didn't know where it fit in. It's not really R&B. I'm not like, I'm not the typical this or that. So just again, the doubts came in, and I just said, you know what? It's not good enough. And I just put it down. And Daniel, the producer, was so mad. He was so annoyed with me. I refused to release it. I just said, you know what? It's not good enough. It's not enough. So I moved on, and I continued with my writing and editing and writing for people like Essence and Ebony, and just really got into writing, still on kind of on the tail end of modeling. And so 20 years goes by, and interesting, I didn't completely forget about the music because it's always in my heart. And I would see different artists come along who were just so different, but so confident in being different. And I would see these women and I would just say, wow, I would envy them and just kind of like, if I ever get a chance to do it again, I'm going to do that. Like, I'm going to be me. Over the years, time teaches you, well, at least it, showed me that it's okay to be different. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You go through so many things. And so in your 50s, and 40s and 50s, it's like I could already appreciate, just myself and whatever I'm bringing, and so I said, if I ever get a chance to do it again, I'm gonna be fearless. I'm gonna be me, I'm gonna be me. So again, 20 years went by, literally the end of 2023, and I started watching music documentaries, and I was watching the Grace Jones documentary, and I was, there's no one more different and confident than Grace Jones. That voice, and she was just in the studio, and I'm looking at her, and it just reminded me. I was like, "Wow, wait a second! I did an album. Like So it just kind of sparked something in me where I wanted to hear it. And at that point, I didn't even have a copy. It was a CD era. I didn't even have a CD of it. I did not have a copy. So I reached out to Ron, the one that mixed it. He didn't even remember. He was like, listen, because I'm like, I know it's 20 years ago in the text, but do you still have that thing we did? And he's worked with Brandy and JoJo, all these different people. So he's like, I'm sorry. And but I reached out to Daniel, who now lives in Spain. He had a copy, and he fortunately was not so he sent it. He was happy to send it to me. Anyway, I heard it. And I was like, oh my God, I just fell in love with it all over again. I fell in love with what I loved initially before I let other people's opinions taint how I felt about what I did. And I just couldn't stop listening to it. And I was like, damn it, I'm releasing it. I don't care. I'm releasing it. Because for me, it was like the second chance that I never really knew that I was going to get. And I just felt like, you know what, God has put this in my hand after 20 years. What I can do is let it fly. I can put it out there and let it find its audience, let it find its people. But I'm going to do what I should have done back then. And I did have, I won't say I had doubts. I was just so happy to put it out. And I chose my 53rd birthday because my birthday was coming up. And I just felt like, you know what? My birthday is a rebirth. So this is a new beginning for me, 53. So anyway, and I also self-recorded a video right in my home, no makeup, for one of the scenes. I was wearing what I would wear to bed, like literally not a drop of makeup, in my living room. I just really was just like, when I said I'm going to be me, I mean, I'm going to be me, my full authentic self. And so I recorded a video for one of the songs, and so yeah, chose my birthday and got on a platform. Now it's so much easier to be an independent artist than it was even back then. It's like you don't necessarily need a record company. You can go straight to the people. So I just started, and I'm still educating myself, but because people ask me, well, where can I get it? And I was like, well, let me find out, because I'm just putting it out there, moving quick, and just, but I'm learning on the go, so I've had to and I continue to educate myself about how to buy it and where to buy it or where to stream it, what's streaming, what's buying it. And hired a company to even pitch my video around. Like I said, I'm going to do it because this is it's been such a blessing for me, and I recognize that. But I still had doubts. It's so funny. There was one of the songs where I had like a note that I felt like was flat, and I was like, maybe I shouldn't even release this song. And that was still just a little bit of a remnant of the old me, that was still kind of trying to judge. And I was like, even that, I just said, stop, and it's so funny because it's some people's favorite song. When they tell me like their favorite songs, that's like one of them. And I'm like, okay, really? You almost didn't release it because you had one note that you didn't like. So you always, I still have to catch myself. It's not like that old me never tries to peek back in. We constantly have to be aware of how we're trying to limit ourselves. But yeah, I released it, and like you said, it's been phenomenal response. Spotify and being on their Female Voices playlist, and people who have like told me how they play it and so much, and just the people love it. There are people who really are digging this album. And so, and the write-ups that I get, I just got another one yesterday. And so, yeah, so it's been amazing. And it continues to still, I'm still continuing to promote it because I plan next to get a band. I performed it once with the band, practice it with the band, but I want to put a band together, and I'm going to start performing. So it's one of those things where I'm sticking with it because I love music, and I'm at an age. I used to be so nervous when I was singing. My voice would literally be shaking, and I would forget the words. But now at 53, when at this age, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm just not.
So you made one, there was a point that you made that you said literally two people gave you negative feedback and you shelved it. What would you say to someone who, I know part of it is you learn to be yourself, but what advice would you give to someone with that negative, who have negative feedback that's stopping them or is about to stop them from
Just
pursuing?
don't second guess yourself. I learned that I second guessed myself based off of other people's opinions. I was looking outside of myself for validation, constantly looking to be validated. And when I didn't get it, then I couldn't exist outside of that. So for me, what I've learned is I could have put this out. I could have put it out 20 years ago and it would have been fine. I'm happy to put it out now. But I would just say, do not second guess yourself. If you're different, you're supposed to be different. You're not supposed to be like everybody else. We are all different. And that is what we want we want that.
I think that, of course, insight or opinions from others is important, but I think you have to use your intuitive ear because some people just like to give negative advice, period. They're not going to see anything great in anything that you're doing. So you have to be able to weigh, is this accurate? Am I happy with it? Because you'll find your audience. Not everybody's going to like everybody's music. That's why we have country music. That's why we have different artists, because some people don't like the biggest artist who's out there, but there's someone for everyone. Right. Another thing you mentioned is being yourself, accepting yourself. Do you feel that was something that came with age as well?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Because again, seeing other people being themselves, and people that I felt like, oh my gosh, like I felt like, well, they're not more talented than me. You know what I mean? And I don't say that in a conceited way, but it's just they're not more talented than me, but they're confident, but they believe in themselves. And that's the difference. They at least have enough courage to put themselves out there. And that's what I didn't have. I had the talent, but I did not have the courage. And that courage came with a lot of life experience. At some point, I was able to shed those layers of caring what people thought. And it wasn't just music. If people said something, negative in any way, if feedback wasn't good, I was always constantly trying to change myself for others. Constantly. Okay, well, let me change this. Well, let me change that. And then at one point, as you continue to get older, you realize like, I'm not changing for anybody else. Like I'm good. I'm good. And I've earned the right to stand here as I am, and
I think that's probably a lot of women, maybe 80, 90% of us. Yeah.
Yeah.
You get tired of it. It's like you said, I'm not changing for anyone else. You accept me as me.
Accept me as me. Yeah, this is who I am. And I'm happy. I'm happy with me. Like I am. So yeah, so that definitely came with age.
So, what would be, so right now you're getting a lot of traction with the music. Are you going to, I know you mentioned a band, are you going to continue with the music? I know you're doing other things as well. And did
Yeah.
it take you courage? I know
Yeah.
you already have a number of different things under your belt,
Yeah.
but are you finding that you're still having to battle the doubts moving forward?
No, I don't really if anything now I'm just like, okay, what next? How do I continue to promote the music? How do I continue to get it out there? And it's not even the only thing that I do. And but I'm having fun with it. It's not in the same way. Before it was I wanted a tour bus. You know what I mean? I wanted to be the biggest star in the world. I don't need to be that anymore. I want to enjoy the music. I do want to travel. I would love to travel the world, and I would love that. But I'm not going to, like, sacrifice myself for it. It's just not that. It's actually more fun, and I get to be creative in how I get the word out. Like, even being here, I'm so glad to be. Anytime I can even talk about it, I'm just happy. I'm happy to be here talking about it to you, because somebody might go and listen and say, "Oh, wow, I like that." Sensual Journey, yeah. But I also wrote a web series, Riley and Cody's World, that just got picked up by Ten Noir TV. And that is a web series with a mutual friend that was also on the show before, Stacey.
Our friend, Stacy.
No, yeah, Stacey. So I wrote, directed, and co-produced a web series about her two really talented daughters who are dancers. And that just, again, got picked up by Ten Noir TV. You can download the app and watch all 6 episodes. So there's that. I'm developing TV shows too right now, a few kind of documentary TV show projects. And I still write, so I stay, I stay active and creative, uh, and while I shelved the music, and that was in a certain way unfortunate, I do also believe in God's time, and I feel like, for whatever reason, it wasn't supposed to come out at that time, like I would have gotten ripped apart. I couldn't even have, I would have gotten ripped apart because I couldn't even get past 3 friends. So how was I going to put that music out to any further? So I wasn't ready. A lot of times we think we're ready. We think we're ready, and we get mad at God, like, I'm ready, and we literally get so mad that we stop, and then we have all this resentment and anger, but we're not really ready. We're just not. So
I love that because there's probably going to be women listening to this and they may be beating themselves up about what they didn't do or letting something go, and maybe it wasn't the right time.
wasn't the right time. We think we're ready, but we're not always ready. I was not ready. I could not stand up to 2 friends. If I can't get past 2 friends and their opinion, how am I going to get, I'm going to get beat up out there,
Right.
and I'm going to lose myself. So I wasn't ready. God knew.
And another point you made, because a lot of times people get caught on perfection, like you released it, it's out there, and you stated that I'm learning to promote, I'm learning all the rest of the stuff as I go.
Yes.
And now we have so much technology where you have no excuse.
Yep.
You can learn as you can go.
Yep.
If you're starting a business, you could create a website yourself because maybe you can't afford to pay somebody 1,000
Yep.
create a basic website to get yourself going and bring money in, and then improve as you go, learn as you go. I love that point. So
Yes.
any tips in that regard?
Yeah, listen, I'm sure it's the same for you. I'm sure when you started the show, you didn't know what you were doing. You just knew you had a message. You knew you wanted to provide a service for women in our age group, and you wanted to be of value, bring some value. And I'm sure you're still learning, you know what I mean? So I think a lot of times, if we don't have all our ducks in a row, then, we talk ourselves out of it. But it is all about the journey, and you're never going to have all those ducks in a row because life is continuously changing and evolving. So I feel like it's just important to, if you have a desire or something that you want to do, just jump in there and be courageous enough to jump in there, and just know that it's gonna, you're gonna find out what you need to find out. You're gonna research and just try to have fun with it. You know what I mean? And there's no perfection in it. There's no one path, one way. There's no perfection. It's just shoot from the heart. You know what I mean? And again, like I said, now I don't know exactly what I'm going to do tomorrow. I don't know past, this interview, what I'm going to do, but I know that I'm in it and I'm going to keep going because I get enjoyment out of it. So whatever I need to know, and I know where I ultimately want to go. So I kind of leave the path, I let the path reveal itself, and I just stay active every day, just try to bring my best self to it and try to always enjoy it and not get too serious about it. Even recently, I'll be honest, even with all the great things that have happened, it's like there's certain things that I want to happen and I'm like, it's not happening fast enough. And then I have to remind myself, girl, you sat on this for 20 years and then now you want everything to happen for overnight. Like, really? Really? So calm down, and you're doing really well. So, we have to give ourselves pep talks and keep things in perspective. So I have to just, keep things in perspective and remind myself again that this is a fun thing, because this did not have to happen. If I didn't have one copy, what if no copy existed? What if Daniel didn't have any copies? It would have been that thing that I recorded, that memory. I couldn't even remember the songs, honestly, until I heard it. I couldn't remember one melody, and I wrote and arranged all those songs, but I could not remember one thing. And there are other songs that I recorded that I don't have copies of, and they're just memories, So this is a true blessing. So I don't take it for granted. But, we all have things that we put aside that, maybe we were artists or, painters or whatever it was that we kind of put down and we talked ourselves out of in whatever way. But I guarantee that anything that was in the heart, that was in here, has an opportunity to exist right now. You know what I mean? And to the extent that we can just empty our minds out and just kind of like look at it, sometimes just revisit it. Who knows how it would exist today? It doesn't exist for me in the same way, like I said, that it existed back then. I had different things I wanted. I wanted to be, and I don't want to be that. And you know what I mean? So it's gonna be different, but we're different, But if we let something go, anything can be again. I really do believe that. I got back into modeling as another thing. I got back into modeling last year too. So I think there's been a reawakening in my 50s. I had stopped modeling and I decided that I wanted to do that again. And so I got myself in shape. I changed my diet. I worked out, like I transformed into a person that and I got back with an agency that I don't know, this 20-year thing. I got back with an agency I was with 20 years ago and started my, so I'm just kind of at a space in my 50s where I'm like, this is my second half, because I plan to be here past 100. So this is like the second act. And to me, it's the best act. It's the best act. Because at this age, you get perspective, the different things that you say, damn, I was so silly back then. And then now it's like you got perspective. So to the extent that you can stand here and believe that anything is possible, it really is, because we're in a different place. So we can correct a lot of the wrongs, if you will, for lack of a better word, you know what I mean? So it's like the do-over time. To me, it's like do-over. I'm doing this over, and I'm doing it knowing where I went wrong. Knowing.
Wonderful. So ladies, hope you're inspired by Erickka for your do-over. We're going to close this out thanking Erickka for an awesome interview. We're going to share a clip to where you can buy her music, her social media, where you can find her. That's already on the banner, her social media link. But we're also going to share a clip of her video to close us out. So thank you so much for joining us, Erickka.
Thank you. Yeah.